In this video, I'm going to react to Bryan Johnson reacting to AG1, which is the athletic greens company that has been viral for a while now and makes some bold claims like many supplement companies do. Bryan Johnson himself makes a lot of bold claims, and he has gone viral for basically trying to live forever, and he has his blueprint protocol, which he's kind of developed this definitely cult-like following a little bit. I think I watched this video already. I'm going to rewatch it and give my second take, but just from my overall perspective on Bryan Johnson, I do think he's very enthusiastic about what he does, and he's putting his own money to essentially be a test subject for many different topics in longevity. The problem with that is it's N=1, and also he definitely, I think, has his heart in the right place, but he himself makes a lot of claims. But let's see what he talks about in this video, going over AG1. Something tells me I may agree with him a little bit more, as he will be talking about a different product that is competing with his own.
DrinkAG1.com.
AG1 by Athletic Greens.
Athletic Greens. It appears to be a supplement of some kind.
This episode is brought to you by Athletic Greens. F that. Friends, we know the world is up. Everywhere we turn, somebody is trying to do something to get you. When you turn to those who presumably have your back, it's important they do. AG1, a nutrition company, surely has your back, don't they?
I'm not sure if he does understand the irony there, because he has his own supplement company. With that said, you know, there's going to be a lot of companies out there. It doesn't mean everyone is bad that has supplements or anything like that. It's always about the evidence that can support the claims. Also, like, how much are you charging for certain supplements? I guess we're about to see for AG1. So let's get into it.
I'm now in the food business. Whether I like it or not, I've built Blueprint to try to help other people have the same nutrition that I do. I know I can make this product for less than $10. That's the cost of the actual ingredients. They sell it for $99 for a single purchase. That's a lot of margin to play with, from 10 as a cost to 70 at your doorstep. The point is, AG1 is not what it's hyped.
That is interesting to see a little bit behind the scenes on the margins. I don't know how accurate that is. I'm sure AG1 would say otherwise, but I'm sure a lot of that margin goes into advertising costs, because AG1 is like on every podcast, it's everywhere. And I guess let's get this out of the way now. My take on supplements, right? Like, do you need a multivitamin? Is it recommended for most people? So really, you only need nutritional supplementation if you're lacking in a specific vitamin or mineral. For example, let's say you have a low vitamin C or vitamin D levels. Would it be helpful to take vitamin D supplements? Yes, it probably will, and there's definitely cases where you need supplementation. Also, is it really going to hurt you if you take a multivitamin every day and you don't need everything that's in it? No. Some people say that Americans have some of the most expensive pee, because a lot of these vitamins will just get urinated out if it's excess. And if you are focused on your overall health and longevity, and this is something that you're into, and I'm actually into this space as well, do I think maybe if it's not going to be a big cost, maybe only a cost to your pocket, and you have the ability to pay for these things and you want to try them out, is that okay? I think it's totally fine as well. But for most people, you don't need all this supplementation. Really, when it comes down to supplements for performance overall, I think that creatine is going to be the best supplement overall that has the best evidence behind it right now. And if you're deficient in a certain vitamin, then supplementing those vitamins is possible. But I think some people take that to the extreme and also run tests on certain vitamins, different components and precursors that just don't need to be supplemented for, and that's where the evidence is still murky. But again, I think everyone should be able to do what they want. I think Bryan Johnson is approaching it from a good place, but he does sell his own supplements, so there is an irony to it.
It's overpriced, it's overpromised, and it does not deliver the value you think it's delivering. There's several other things you should be aware of. First is their insane marketing strategy. We all have trauma from hearing that advertisement every day, all day, from every influencer.
AG1 works. DrinkAG1.com.
AG1 works.
AG1 works.
Now, to understand what's going on is they pay influencers between 20 and 30% every time you buy their product. Not just once, but in a recurring fashion. That means if
I do like these
31,000 of you
graphics.
subscribe to my AG1 influencer link, I'm going to make $500,000 a month per month in perpetuity. That would only take me 2 months to make $1 million. This is why it's so hard to trust those giving the recommendations. Now,
that is a pretty good financial incentive. I'm only thinking now, like, how much, if Joe Rogan has a similar deal, or he might even have a better one, how much money Rogan is making from his AG1 sponsorship. Also, I'm still laughing at the irony because he just said it's hard to trust those individuals, and he literally has a link in his YouTube video to his Blueprint supplement stack, which this video itself is a marketing video towards that, but I digress.
I'm an influencer. What does that cost me to read a script for 30 seconds? And I start racking up this money, and now I'm making millions of dollars a year just by simply repeating a thing again and again, which we all again suffer trauma from. Follow the money and you find wisdom. Problem number 3 is pixie dusting. That means they list an ingredient that you may be familiar with and you think it's good for you. But instead of giving you the amount that was shown to work in the clinical trial, they give you a much lower amount. And so the benefit is, if you look at the AG1 nutritional panel, you see a bunch of words like, I know this and that, this sounds good, that looks great. But the problem is they're giving you doses that are insignificant. They'll tell you things like a biotin, which is 330 mcgs, very clean. But then they have this entire other section that has proprietary blends where they have these long paragraphs of ingredients. You don't know how much of each ingredient is in the product. In fact, of the ingredients that AG1 has, 49 do not have a disclosed dose of the ingredient you're taking. So you look at the top, they do have doses disclosed here. The bottom, where they have these long paragraphs, you do not know what you're putting into your body. That is insane. Let's go back to the original.
I do agree with Bryan Johnson here, for sure. I think one of the problems with supplements is you can have these proprietary blends, which just means they're not disclosing the dose of different ingredients. They have to say certain things that they're putting in it, but they're not giving you exact dosing. And so is it making a clinically significant difference? Hard to say. Also, with a lot of, again, there's so many different things in AG1, right? So many different vitamins and components that they're saying, and that's why, you know, part of their advertisement, right? This is the only drink you'll need, and then you can go with the rest of the day confident that you have all the micronutrients and micronutrients that you would need for the rest of the day, and you're good. And so again, if someone feels comfortable with that, I don't think you're harming yourself by having it. But for $99 a package, that's definitely a steep price tag for the average American. And I do agree that transparency is very important, especially with the supplement industry. I wish it was a little bit more regulated because of that.
Final question, where do we find refuge? Before we do that, this episode is brought to you by Athletic Greens. I'm going to tell you my perspective. I am in the food and supplement business. I never imagined myself to be here. I never set out to be here, because when Blueprint went viral and people wanted to do the Blueprint stack with me, it was too hard to buy all the supplements, put everything together. And so the most common request I received was, make this easy and consumable for all of us. And I said, you know what? Okay, I'll do it. So let me tell you what we do at Blueprint.
To be fair to him, like, it did seem like he was doing this himself. He was making YouTube videos, so who knows like what his ultimate goal was. Maybe he wasn't planning on getting into the supplement industry, but he's definitely there now. And I do know that there were a lot of people asking to and trying to follow his stack. And I remember watching his original video, like talking about his whole Blueprint lifestyle, which maybe we'll make another reaction video too. Let me know in the comments below if you're interested in that. And it was very difficult to follow if you wanted to follow it. So, you know, he might have saw a need in the marketplace and is now trying to fill that need.
We basically said, if you can identify the best scientific evidence, isolate those ingredients, and then use a clinical grade dose, and then build the protocol stack from there. We did that. We went out and we found suppliers of every ingredient. We asked them to provide us tests for cleanliness. We tested ourselves, and then we put together an entire stack. Now, to give you an idea on how we approach transparency, we list every single ingredient we have and the exact dose. And we post the COAs, which means a third-party lab tests our ingredients and they have that summary sheet. We post that. Everything's transparent. In addition to that, our prices are actually insanely competitive. In fact, people have gone out.
I do like that. I do like that a lot, and I respect Bryan Johnson for having that third-party testing. I think that's super important if you're going to have a high-quality supplement. For example, like I have tried different creatine supplements, and like I really like the gummies because it's easier for me to eat, but sometimes I question like if it doesn't have the third-party testing, like is there actually a gram of creatine in each of these gummies, or a 5-gram serving total? I don't know, because I'm kind of just trusting that they have best practices, which is good too, because they have, let's say someone has the best practices label, but they don't have a third-party testing to make sure a random batch actually has the ingredients that it is discussing and is not contaminated with anything else. So I think generally I don't see too many drawbacks for like all supplements to have some third-party testing requirements.
And tried to buy each ingredient individually, they still can't buy it at a lower cost than what we've done. So we are lower cost than anything anybody can do on their own. Now contrast that with AG1, I can buy the cost of their materials for $10. I can sell it to you for about $30. That allows me to get it into manufacturing, into the warehouse, and ship it to your front door. Those are the kinds of margins we would deal with. So that is how ridiculous and overpriced AG1 is. In contrast, Blueprint works upon scientific evidence, clinical grade doses, transparency in the full disclosure, and we price it better than anything in the market. Now, in doing this, as we know, everybody in health and wellness, whether you're an expert or non-expert, disagrees with everyone about everything. It is not the case that people are going to look at the Blueprint stack and say, you know what, I agree with everything they said because the evidence is just so clear. It's not. You can give the same 5 scientists the same 5 papers, and they will tell you 5 different things. That's just state of affairs currently. So I don't expect people to jump on and say, Blueprint solved the entire equation.
So I do agree with the overall sentiment of that point, and especially in this area, in nutrition, supplementation, this world, there is a lot of conflicting viewpoints, especially even more in the longevity space. With that said, there is general scientific agreement amongst certain things, right? Like protein intake, creatine as a supplement, although even some physicians will hear different thoughts about that. But the evidence, if you know nutrition pretty well, is pretty clear on the benefits of creatine and it being an overall safe supplement. Maybe not for every single person, but for the majority of people, they would be fine having a creatine, for example. Oh, and I promise I'm not paid by Big Creatine. I have nothing to disclose. But in general, yes, he makes a good point. I am glad he is acknowledging that even his stack, whatever it is, maybe we'll make another video on that, there's going to be conflicting evidence for, even if he's trying to stick with the latest and most innovative research in the longevity space.
What I do want to convey to you is we have been methodical and rigorous and transparent in our process. It's important that you know that I take the Blueprint stack. I don't make this product and then secretly take something else. I'm in this with you. My skin is in the game. I'm sharing this all openly and transparently with you. We are all trying to be our best selves. We work very hard for the money we make, and we want to trust those who we pay our hard-earned money to. And I'm telling you, AG1 does not deserve your trust or your money. Friends, I'm with you in the trenches. We want to build a better world where you don't have to watch your back everywhere you go. Let's build, don't die together.
All right, very interesting. Let's just take a look quickly. I'm not gonna break it down fully in this video, but his stack is pretty extensive himself. So let's see, the whole thing would be his essential capsules, then the longevity mix, his essential soft gel, the NAC ginger, curcumin, extra virgin olive oil. Wait, is that part of his? Oh, he just sells his own, it sounds like. It's not like a supplement. So it sounds like, well, let's see, in terms of supplement bottles, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, the red yeast, rice, and odor-free garlic. Interesting. I guess people were getting upset having to have garlic every day. And then he has the nutty pudding and chocolate and blueberry nut mix. So very interesting. We'll have to do a breakdown. Let's see what his overall pricing is. $342. I'm not sure how long that lasts. Is that a 30-day supply? Because if so, I mean, it says 30 days. So if so, it's technically, I mean, maybe you could say he's giving more than AG1, but it sounds like it's actually more expensive. So we'll have to do a more extensive review next time, but I hope you enjoyed this video. My overall thoughts, AG1, if you take it, you like it, let me know in the comments below. I mean, it's not going to be really bad for you. You might have some expensive urine. Maybe it helps definitely a percentage of people who have micronutrient deficiencies. And so I'm not saying you definitely can't take it, but I don't think stressing about your supplementation to this level is always the healthiest. Really just focus on the basics, and that'll get you 90% of of the way there. Generally eat well, maintenance or a slight caloric deficit. If you're trying to lose weight, have enough protein intake. You could take creatine. If you want first line supplementation, it helps with working out, also helps with keeping the muscles hydrated, and get good sleep, and you're 80 to 90% of the way there when it comes to living a healthy lifestyle. So hope you enjoyed this video. I will continue to do reviews. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.